I don't know much about this, Jerry, so you're gonna have to help me here, but how is comparable for even comparable with, I mean, we're talking about a subject residence that has 2 rooms versus a comparable that has 7 total rooms and about 500 more square feet of living space.
The appraiser will take a comparable, even though it's not 100% comparable, just by the mere fact of what you brought up, and then they make adjustments. And if you go down on the row of the one that you're looking at, you can see down the right-hand side going down, there's a column there with numbers, plus, 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 minus, minus.
Which page are you on?
Well, I'm on this page.
Okay, I'm looking at the picture on page 17.
Oh, you're looking at the pictures? Well, the pictures don't tell the story. The actual technical calculation is on the one where I have the
Okay, and what page are you
number
on?
3. It's got a number 3 on the top.
Is there a page number on
It's
that?
in our packet.
Just the
Oh,
number
it's in
3.
our packet.
It's in the package, yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If you look at the one that I gave you, I circled the assessed values. If you go down, which one were you looking at? Amy Lane or Betty Lane?
66 Laughing Loon,
Oh,
the comparable number 4. The sale price was $460,000.
yeah, if you go down and look at that one, which is on page 4, you can see he made adjustments for the lot size of 114,000 in that little column. Where it says adjusts, it's the right-hand side column that has the plus and minuses, right here.
Looking for comparable 4.
It's on the page 4.
Page number
It's all
4.
by itself.
Yeah,
See it?
yeah, I see all the pluses and
And
minuses.
that's where the appraiser will, if he takes a comparable that he calls comparable and it isn't quite comparable, he will go down and make these dollar adjustments. Now, they're all based on his opinion as an appraiser. And he will, and of course, he's licensed and certified to do this, so he does this all the time for a living. He will make adjustments. And then he comes down, he has a grand total of the adjustments, and he comes out with what he thinks that the value would be comparable to the subject, which is the property we're talking about. And he does this for all the comparables. I have a problem with that because sometimes when they do adjustments on with smaller properties, I think they have a tendency to come out on the low side, on the low end. So I kind of overlook some of the adjustments that they made to come up with the 315.
But based on all your calculations, you're recommending, am I correct in saying that you're recommending a reduction, that the board consider a reduction?
It would be what I would consider a reduction, yes, instead of 343.9, taking into consideration all the points that we discussed and the appraisal, would be adjustment to 315.
If the board were to vote on a reduction of this, would his property be taxed in the same way as the other properties? Would it be consistent across the board? Or would he have essentially an unfair advantage over the other people that are taxed?
It's fairly consistent because it'd be at 108.
I think what probably makes this property a little different than the others that are on the lake on the sheet that I showed you, is this extra piece of property that's stuck on the back, which I don't think adds a whole lot to the property, except for the fact that it's got a septic system on it. There are other cases where these lots in the back or across the roads are much smaller. They might have a garage on it, a shed. They park their cars. I don't know if they use to park their cars. He has quite a bit of frontage on the lake, but it's not very deep. If you compare all that, it may be that if we were back to 2008, maybe if we had the discussion we're having tonight and focusing on it, it may be that we were slightly high. But there's no real way of judging that. We might have been okay in 08, but if we look at it again with
Well,
an
I think to
objective.
John's point, we have to look at it with 2008 in mind, so that we're consistent across the board. And I guess that's my question, is, even if we look at this at 2008, is this particular piece of property still high in comparison with the other properties, or is it consistent with the other properties?
It's within acceptable parameters, is my answer. It's within an acceptable range. You can't pick the value like an appraiser does every time that it's going to be $315,000 and $100. It doesn't work that way. But it works in a range, and that's why the state allows a 10% range, either higher or lower, because you just can't come up with the exact answer all the time. It would be within parameters that I would consider acceptable. And Tammy, what Joe has asked me before when I've been before this board, would this be the figure you'd come up with if we were having a revaluation again and it were 2008? And that kind of sticks in my mind. And it might be.
Or it might not be.
But it might not be.
And I guess that's my question.
Sure.
You know, that's always what I want to hear.
Yeah, I know.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
If this was 2008, would this be a fair assessment for this property
It would be a lot closer in the value range of things that we deal with.
than the 343?
Now, if we had a $400 appraisal, $500 appraisal done on every single house, you know, it'd be a dream come true, because we'd have probably the realistic today values. If the market ever goes up, of course, we'd surpass it, but I don't see that in the future. We're looking at pretty much a flat surface with some bumps, 14% bumps.
The dilemma I'm having right now, I'll be honest with you, is trying to be fair to Mr. Hurley and trying to be fair to the other people on the lake that are taxed as well. And I want to be consistent, you know, from one property to the other as much as I can. That's why I asked that question about that comparable, how that's arrived at, and you know, presented me with, you know, this, the plus and minus scales on everything that they do. So I just...
Again, if you go back to, if you take the $295,000 value and multiply that times 113%, you come up to, that brings you up to $345,000. So that's pretty much what the original valuation is. So, I mean, that's what I gotta go on.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, that probably wasn't the correct percentage in 2008. Is that what you said?
No, I would say, again, we're dealing with ranges. In assessing in the state of Maine, you have ranges.
Right.
If you have like houses, they should be within a certain range. So you got a 10% buffer. It's like a target, if you will.
Right.
The subject's in the middle. You could do that to all kinds of properties, but really is not realistic. So you take a range and say, he would fit within the range in 2008 a lot better than he fits within the range now. But the target range is just slightly more expanded in today's market, and it will continue to be more expanded as we go along. So it's hard to say if he's over-assessed, if he's perfectly assessed, or if he's under-assessed. It really is.
I don't think there's anybody in the world that said that they're perfectly assessed.
My motion still stands.
Is there any other discussion from anyone? Seeing none, I will go for the vote. All those in favor of an abatement signify. What is the
The
motion?
motion was not to.
Oh, okay, the motion was not to approve. Okay. All those in favor of not approving this abatement? Opposed? Motion carried.
Is that a 4 vote, Mr. Chairman?
Excuse me?
Is that, I didn't see the count.
That was for,
Thank you.
based on the material that was presented. All right, we have what, one more?
I don't think so.
What's this one here? What's Crawford Terrace one?
Return of property.
They want to return a property.
Oh, it's all the same. Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's one that's next on the agenda.
Is this located in Lake Arrowhead Estates? Where is this located? Crawford.
Lake Arrowhead.
Lake Arrowhead. You're talking about the next item?
Yep.
Parisi, is that how you pronounce it?
It abuts in a vacant lot.
Is this confirmed that there's no way of putting a septic system on this property?
This is what the gentleman contends, but I don't have proof that he applied or tried.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'd need, is I'd need proof that there's no system that is available that could be put onto this property.
What difference does it
What-
make?
I was gonna say, what difference would it
make,
be?
John?
If it was,
He wants to donate the property to the town
Oh,
because he doesn't feel like he
okay.
can do,
okay, I thought
What
it was
he
a
wants
tax
with it.
abatement.
No.
No.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
smart. All right, yeah. That doesn't make any difference.
Is there, I mean, in fairness to this couple, I mean, is there any vacant lots next to them, Jerry?
Yes, there
That
is
the town owns?
Not the town, but there is a private owner that owns lot 189, which is next to it. A189. I think he said the lot was,
Wet, by the sound
yeah,
of it.
right. Said what?
What is the assessed value of that, do you know?
Yes, I do. It's $15,000 valuation.
So that's, if we take the property, we lose the tax property.
What are we gonna do?
what are we gonna do with it?
Yeah.
Why do we want it?
I mean, we've got 3 properties now on our plate that people are wanting to donate. You know, perhaps he can work something out with Lake Arrowhead, but,
Yeah. I'm not particularly in favor of accepting this donation, because I don't think that it's in the best interest of the town to do so. I mean, I think he needs to explore his options of selling it to the abutters, and, you know, based on the fact that he's willing to give it away, I would imagine that he's probably be inclined to be very negotiable on the selling price. And that would have the property at least remain in some respects on the tax rolls. And we wouldn't be, because I don't think we're in the real estate business.
Exactly. I move that we,
That's my thoughts on it. I would certainly entertain a motion from
I'll move that we do not accept this offer.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded not to accept this donation. Is there any discussion? Yes, Mr. Foglio.
We might consider that he's not, he's technically given it to you, but he's also, could be gonna claim a loss because he donated it to the town, so it could be financially rewarding to him on a tax loss. If you donate property,
Right.
believe me, you can get a very healthy tax credit on your federal taxes for doing so. So when you say that, you know, he might negotiate to sell it somebody cheap, if he gave it to you and could get the full assessed value off his income taxes, he's getting a lot more money out of it than would he sell it to somebody for $2,000. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It can become a very, very
Lucrative.
lucrative business giving land away.
You speaking from experience?
Move the question, please.
Is there any further discussion on this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion not to accept the donation? Opposed? Motion's carried, not to accept. I wonder if the land trust would
No.
take a donation.
Move to number 6, please.
Yes. Report from the road commissioner. Should we,
Should we vote now to extend the meeting past 9 o'clock?
no, it's 8 o'clock. I know that yours is going to be rather lengthy. Any objection to just flipping that and having the road committee speak first, and then that would allow...
It's the same, gonna be the same.
It's going to be the same thing? Then you have the floor, Mr. Commissioner.
Well, no, I get the tractor issue.
Well, that's fine, well,
Well, we do have some folks that are here specifically interested in the middle road, so
Yeah.
I'd like to see that addressed first, so
Yeah.
these folks can...
okay. Do you mind waiting a little bit?
No, I'm gonna speak on this too, so.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he
All
was
right.
invited to come in and speak about the middle road
Okay,
intersection.
we'll have the road review committee, please come to the podium.
All right, last Sunday afternoon, Road Review Committee and Mr. Fogley went up and looked at the intersection, Middle Road and Ross Corner Road. Some discussion on how we can make that intersection a lot easier to access and to make it safer for the public. And after talk with the road commissioner, there was a couple different ways of doing it. One of the ways the Road Review Committee has a question on looking back into our questionable road list on Middle Road and on Ross Corner Road, shows that those roads were discontinued in 1955, but we don't know if it was ever recorded. So we're not sure if they're discontinued roads or not. And without doing some research, we actually have 32 roads in Waterboro right now that show that have been discontinued, that we have no idea if the paperwork's ever been filed.
I do have a letter from the attorney on all of those that was done in 52. I'd have to. I'm not sure if I have it or if Patty has it in her road book, but we do have an opinion on those.
And was it the whole road or part of the road?
Part of the road.
You know?
So like on the one for the Ross Corner Road, it shows it as .37 miles that was discontinued on 3/14/55, but it doesn't tell us where it is, what part of the road. These things are very, very vague.
So how does that discontinuance affect the corner that we're talking about? Are you questioning that if that has been discontinued?
No, we know the corner is fine. It's a matter of the dirt section that's Middle Road. In order to get out on that road now, it's quite a swing to turn to go back up, and you really can't see anything, but it's so narrow, and there's a telephone pole right in the middle there.
There's the map, there's the intersection.
So what, yeah. Right in this area, right here is the poles. Coming up this road, you can't really see this intersection, anything coming down here. What we were looking at was, instead of taking this road, would be to redo the road, bring it down to this one, and redo this intersection. But if this is a discontinued road, we can't actually go out there and spend public money to redo that road.
That's correct.
Well, how much room does the town have on right-of-ways, on roads? From the road that is Ross Corner, Middle Road, yeah, that's, we're using now.
50 feet on each side from the center line? Or 25 feet each side from the center line?
Well, it depends on what the road is. Those roads up there, you know, I think are 3-rod roads, which is 49 and a half feet. Everybody calls it 50 feet, okay? But, you know, maybe Roger's got some more information here. You got some more information, Roger?
Well, if they were discontinued, regardless of how wide it was to begin with, the property splits and goes to the abutting landowners on either side.
Not always.
We would
There's a whole
still,
bunch of different ways that roads become discontinued or abandoned, or, you know, there's more than one way.
Yeah, well, I know the piece that I have up on McLucas Road, there's a stipulation that it reverts, I own to the center of the road, but I have to keep it open as a fire lane. So I couldn't, you know, use it to, I couldn't build out to it or something, or put a stone wall there or anything like that, so.
See, and that's the other thing, along that road, there is a stone wall there. So we don't know if that's a boundary or what it is, but there is an old existing stone wall there. The other thing would be on the Ross Corner Road is to redo that intersection to widen it, to go back, what do we figure, 200 feet?
Well, you know, there's problems there all the way around. That's,
And there's no easy way to fix it.
No.
Well, what is the easiest way to fix it, and what do you need to know?
Well, I think what we were thinking about doing was, where this road comes out here, if we widen this intersection, so instead of pulling up this way, with the car, you're kind of looking up this way, your view is blocked down here, you don't have a good view. If we open this up down this way further, so the traffic come out square to the road, you've got good visibility both ways. So that would take care of this. It's this road here that we have in question.
You're talking about visibility of people coming out from the Ross's Corner Road.
Right.
Not people coming from either direction. 'Cause
Coming out of this road here,
yeah,
when you stop here, your visibility down this way isn't
Yeah,
very
okay.
short. Coming out this road, you have no visibility going up this way.
but the visibility of people coming down coming on the middle road is, that goes back about 150 yards or so in this direction and further up in that direction. So the visibility isn't a problem of the people on the middle road, it's the problem, the visibility is the people coming onto the middle road, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so you can't see the traffic coming either way.
But it doesn't affect this section of Ross Corner Road because you don't have traffic coming out of there anyway. The only traffic that you have coming out is on the Middle Road side, and from this one right here, there's a house up in there.
Well,
Right.
Here's the opinion, and it's two-sided.
So what we were thinking is the best thing we could do for right now would just to be to enlarge that intersection so you're coming out square onto the road so you can see the traffic both ways.
I don't know, remember last week I said there was something years ago about that intersection with the town?
Yeah.
It wasn't the town, it was with another property owner. And they did deeds, and that's how the intersection ended up where it was.
So, I know when I built back there, it was written right on my building permit, the road, the town considered the road abandoned and the upkeep of the road would fall to the abutters. And we've basically maintained our abandoned section of road that way. That doesn't stop the town from working on the intersection as far as I'm concerned. I realize you don't want to maintain a mile of road.
Well,
I would blame it.
according to this ruling, it says, treat the roads as if they're abandoned, towns of ways, based on some laws that were passed in the 70s, with the town preserving a public easement over them.
That's right.
So if we have an easement over those roads, then that's where we can spend public funds because there is an interest by the town for public safety purposes, correct? No?
It means that you can go on for public safety and it's used for recreation,
But you can't,
use funds for their,
Mr. Chairman.
there is a public right-of-way there for the public use.
Doug has something he'd like to speak on.
Oh, I thought he was looking down. I looked over. I thought he was preparing something. You wanted to speak?
Well, you
Chair
know,
recognizes you.
we have to the best of my knowledge, there's only one road in town that ever got town meeting vote to expend funds on it to start this 30 years to go in. And that road's off the Deering's Ridge Road. And it's not the Peach Orchard Road. What's the name of that road? We voted to haul one load of gravel up there and dump it so the people could get their power. Smith was gonna build a house up there.
Johnson Road?
Johnson Road. We spent money on that road. But I can tell you, so help me God, that the Ross Corner Road had funds, municipal funds spent on it through the 70s up into the 80s. Because I, myself, worked on that road. I worked on it with Guy Bagley. I worked on it with Robert Fay Sr. And I went in business in '63, and I worked on it, well, I bought my first tractor in '63. I bought my first crawler tractor in '67, and I worked on it with both of them tractors, and I bought my first 450 John Deere in '72, and I worked on it with that. And I'll tell you that we spent municipal funds, and we put money on that not over 25 years ago, because if you go up there, you'll find a 3-foot culvert that's washed out, that I put in the buff. I had clothes on.
Yeah, the mental illness you got is...
Halloween was yesterday.
So, we put that 3-foot culvert in down there, and that road was passable just before my father passed away, he went out there, and that was in '94. And he drove all the way through that road because he had a complaint on tires. And he got out there and got caught on a ledge and blew 2 tires on his pickup, and we had to go up and get him. I remember it just clear as if it was today. So that, that Ross Corner Road does not fit under these right here. Neither does the Things Mills Road. We rebuilt that bridge, when they tore down Edgecombe's Bridge, we rebuilt that bridge up there. Bob Fay, Guy Bagley, and myself. I had a Lincoln welder up there, and they hung me in a bosun's chair down underneath it, and I built a steel bridge, which is now still in existence, down when Cameron Dam let go, it washed it out. And the Things Mills, what's that?
That's true, remember.
He let that out down there, drowned me.
Well, hopefully you weren't in the buff on that one.
But, you know, this 30-year thing, you know, doesn't kick in on some of these roads, I'm telling you right now, because town spent money on these roads. That road, the Ross Corner Road was passable with a vehicle all the way through into the early 90s, and we did work on it at least in the 80s. And I did work on it after 55, so, and did work after 1970. So that road has had money spent on it, and we rebuilt the other end of it. We rebuilt from the Ross Corner end in, we rebuilt that whole road and paved it. And the statute doesn't say, you know, I don't know that it says if you didn't work on a specific piece of a road that it becomes abandoned, but we worked on all sections of that, different places, put in culverts.
You mean the other end to Sherburne Lake?
Yeah.
We didn't pay that.
What do you mean we didn't pave it?
It hasn't been accepted as a town road.
Of course it is, we've plowed it, it's always been accepted. The
The
piece,
little section,
no, the piece that,
So we're not by that development that
the
they
piece
always-
that developed,
Oh,
From
okay,
Long
I get it.
Causeway,
okay, I get it. I was
yeah.
not sure what
that last
road.
little piece in there never got accepted because the road split in two. They built it on a
Okay.
slope and it fell off.
I was thinking Sherwood Drive.
Plus from Hickey's on the Things Mills Road, we did a section down in there that was approved by the town selectmen to spend money on that.
John Monteith stood up at town meeting, he opposed every road issue there was. Those people wanted $10,000 spent on the Things Mills Road, and he passed it, and it passed overwhelmingly. And we spent $10,000, and that wasn't more than 15 years ago.
but, okay,
Back to
that's
this
the
issue.
Things Mills Road, according to everybody's been here, we're talking.
Yeah, but I'm telling you,
Middle
the
Road.
Ross Corner Road, we spent money on, David.
And the problem is, in the past, a lot of years, the bills came in under roads and bridges and never said one word about what road was worked on. So, unless, you can go back and look at it all, but rarely would they say which road.
Well, I guess we've pretty well satisfied that Ross Corner Road, we can expend public funds on because it doesn't meet the criteria. How about well, we certainly have on the Middle Road, because you're right. We haven't, you can't take a part of it, so it fits the same way.
There's real questions there, okay?
So what's the plan for the intersection? Let's get back to that, to try to straighten this whole mess out.
Well, there's 2 ways of doing it. I think the way that the road review would recommend would be to widen the intersection. So in other words, if we widen this intersection right down in here, so the vehicles coming out are coming straight out to the here, you'd have good visibility both ways. Coming down this way isn't going to solve the problem. The only way to do that would be to make this road, instead of coming out onto now the middle road, would be to connect to this road and then come out.
The one that
There
said
is-
guys
Like I
driving.
said, there's a rock wall and we don't know who owns the land.
And people walk through
Well, I think that's Steve Poisson's thing.
Whose land?
Steve Poisson, he was in at the meeting, he's the.
Yep, because he owns the 2 houses that are down that,
Yeah,
or
house and
one of the
barn.
houses that's down there.
And the power right from that pole, I know that there's an underground service that feeds his house up on the top of the hill from that pole there on the corner.
Janet?
It's on the old Thing property, or used to be the Thing property.
Yeah,
I
Right.
think,
Yeah.
Look,
yeah.
Yeah, I know where it is, I've been up there.
those, yep, those services.
What about moving the pole back?
There's issues. We was up there again this afternoon.
That was our recommendation, to do that way. We'll let Doug, I think Doug has some other ideas.
Here's your ballpoint light.
Yep.
This thing has grown its own life, if you will. I was up there this afternoon with Mr. Mert, is that your name?
Mr. Haslett.
Haslett. Sorry about that.
He can
Names-
remember things 30 years ago, but he can't remember names.
I don't remember what I had for supper because I haven't had it yet. I went up there with Mr. Haslett this afternoon. He called me and all right, what am I doing wrong here? I can't even get the light to work.
You gotta push the button.
I am. Not, the road is from right at that point right there, that road should be between 8 and 10 feet to the left of where it is. If you look at this line right here,
Yeah.
there's the existing middle road. And if you look at this right here, this road is already over this way. The stone wall is over there. And if you follow this light, just like that, that's the old Ross Corner Road right there. That stone wall is 12 to 15 feet away from where it is, where the road is actually now. So this road here used to go just like that. Traffic has kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it that way. So
Right.
this road would go like this now, it should go like that right there. Not that that helps out, but it would make a much sharper turn, which would create, in my opinion, a lot more accidents, because people wouldn't slow down and they'd have a sharper turn to go around. Like Roger said, if you took this road right here and brought it right out, there's a culvert right there. If we took that road and turned it and brought it out there and did the same thing there, we would meet this at more or less a 90-degree angle, okay? Which the town road ordinance says, standard says that we will meet within either 10 or 15 degrees of 90, okay? This thing is more like 30 to 35 degrees off from what our ordinance is.
The road that's most prominent sticking out there, that's actually, that right there is a driveway.
Yeah, that's a driveway.
That right there is the Ross Corner Road.
No,
No, it isn't.
that's Mr. Poisson's driveway.
The Ross Corner Road is down below, that
Oh,
faint, when you can see, oh,
Excuse
yeah, right there.
excuse me.
Right there.
This right here.
Yeah, that's Ross Corner Road,
Okay.
That's
But-
the driveway.
This,
because,
I don't think so.
Yes, it is.
No.
yeah. Show there's there's a photograph of that, Dave, that will show that.
I'll tell you what, I can even zoom in, and you'll see it says Ross Corner Road right on it.
Yeah, see where it's written?
Right here?
Yeah, it's written right there, Ross Corner Road.
Well, these two roads, if this is
That's
his,
Mr. Poisson's
That's a driveway.
well, then our culvert's right here, okay? Then this, we recommended, or I think, this is all way up there. This here is way up here somewhere. It's kind of a distorted, it's distorted here a little bit, because
Yeah.
this would turn out and come like this. The telephone pole, I think that must be the telephone
Yeah.
pole right there in question. You'd have to go back up here and come back like this and come out onto here. But it doesn't go across his driveway, I'm telling you. His driveway is down this road. So you can go behind that telephone pole. It's, from here to his driveway is at least 150 feet. I don't know what this is here. It doesn't, in real life, it doesn't look like this.
Here's the map that shows his house and whatnot, too.
There's a PowerPoint picture of that, David, of that intersection.
There it is, right there, okay?
That's the driveway.
This is the Ross Corner Road right here,
Yeah.
okay? This you see over here is a drainage from a culvert. This is the Ross Corner Road right here. This is the middle road right here,
And in
okay?
between the two of those is that driveway.
No.
Yeah, the driveway goes
Driveway,
off to the right.
from where my point is, it's 100 to 120 feet to where that driveway goes off the Ross Corner Road. He goes down in a big dip and comes back up again. That's not his driveway right there.
No, no, it actually goes, the driveway
That's the
comes
Ross
off
Corner
the-
Road. This that you see over here, and I don't know if that's what's on the map that shows, but looks like it's a driveway, it says the Ross Corner Road, I think it's a drainage easement, but it may not be. Because that
another-
doesn't,
We can zoom out, see if that goes up to Ross Corner.
well, it does certainly,
Yeah, you can see it
There
much,
you go.
you can see it clearer right there.
Right there.
right there.
Yep,
There's the Ross Corner Road right there.
yep.
There's the driveway still right in between.
This here, from that point to where his driveway is over 100 feet. His driveway comes out down here on the middle road. I don't know why it looked, you know. The
And
map
his
must
address
have,
is a Ross Corner Road address.
Yeah.
this map is at such a scale, you don't see 100 feet on it. But there's a telephone pole right there, and you'd have to go up here, go behind it, and come over to here. And then traffic would turn, would come out on the Ross Corner Road, and then go to the middle road. The scale's got to be wicked off. I mean, you know, it's got to be such an extreme scale that this point here is, the point of that light's got to be 100 feet.
However, for all purposes, the only person that egresses out of there is the person that owns that driveway that goes on to the Ross's Corner Road for that 115 feet or whatever. So he's the only one that's basically using that, and anybody going to see him, because the Ross's Corner Road goes nowhere there. It's just that driveway.
But these people coming up here are the people, he doesn't have a problem, really. It's these people that have the problem off the middle road, John.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that can't come out. When they come out and go to make a turn here, because of the arc of the circle, because where they are way up here, their vision's blocked.
Their vision's blocked, but you can, I kind of walked down there and paced it off, and the sight line goes right about from the cemetery or that driveway. If you're driving from this upwards, you can see that corner from that driveway. So I paced it off about 150 yards. So a person coming down there to see someone making that out in the center of the road.
Coming
there,
down this way, you
have to
mean?
be- Yeah. Coming from here, this driveway here, or this driveway right here, that's 150 yards. And from just about from this point here, you can see anybody across the road here. You wouldn't be able to see anybody parked on the right-hand side of the road, but anybody coming out of this corner crossing the road, you can see them right from this driveway here. Down here, it's a lot straighter, so you get a lot longer sight line from there. However, this person here, coming out here, might not be able to see the car coming at them there. You know, it might be out in here by the time, but coming this direction, he was talking about someone slamming into them. You'd have to be going 75 miles an hour, or not paying much attention to not be able to stop them.
Yeah, but the big problem, John, is the people coming down from Clark's Ridge Road, Nayland subdivision from the old Middle Road.
When they come out of this, when they come out here, David, and make a left-hand turn,
They can't see.
and there's a hill right there. And you gotta come up over that rise, And this tree line right here with the trees and whatnot, and they're cut right back to as far as you can cut them back. You know, there's, from there down, there's very, very little sight distance. It's, you know, in a 35-mile-an-hour road, you're supposed to have 350 feet of sight distance.
Okay.
And right now, if this guy from the state's right, that our 35-mile-an-hour speed limit doesn't hold true, then we're supposed to have 450 feet of sight distance from here down, and you don't have it.
You know, 450 wouldn't.
And, you know, from here, you got tremendous sight distance both ways. But you go over here another 75 feet, 50 feet, and you don't have any sight distance. I don't know what I don't know what you'd like to do to correct it, but, you know, it's very difficult. You could go up the other side of this house here and put a road in through there to connect in there. That would take care of it probably. Or you can come right there and come down behind this telephone pole, and like I say, this is so distorted, but that road's actually down there quite a ways on the Ross Corner Road. You could cut the corner off that guy's stone wall right there, put a road in, and then come out and they would turn left onto the Ross Corner Road and then onto the middle road.
Just for the sake of discussion, I know that it would probably cost some money, but how much would it entail to straighten that curve out a little bit so that you could bring those other roads in at a 90-degree angle, and you don't have that big sweeping arc if you sort of cut right across that property?
Well, the only way that you could take this road would be to start back here and slice it like that.
Yeah, and slice that piece off.
Slice that piece off. I looked at that, Gordon, and that is a possibility. You'd have to acquire the land, because that's outside the stone wall. And I would guess that you'd be talking about building probably 500 feet of road.
It's a considerable amount, because that's still not even taking into account reconfiguring those intersections to tie into that at a 90-degree angle.
If you know, the more you move it over this way, the more room you give people to come out of this road and turn.
Right. Well, they'd come up and do one of those and stop. Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing was built, I mean, you know, the middle road and the Ross Corner Road have been there a long time. They were horse and buggy, you know, and Model A, Model T, and now we've turned them into pretty much of a thoroughfare. I mean, there's a lot of traffic goes up and down that road right there, believe it or not, you know.
There's some pretty big corners up and down both ways there. There's some pretty, you know, and
Oh, yeah,
there's
there's
people's driveways that go into those corners too. So it's not a road, but each, you know, there's a whole bunch of corners that are pretty tight and with driveways going into them. So, you know, it's a fairly dangerous road all the way.
Yeah, there's some pretty good curves in there.
That's why if you go way up here where there's a subdivision up there, when they come before the planning board, we required them to donate 15 feet of land so that for future use, that the road could be widened more than it is, because up there, it was only a two-rod road. So now it's wider than that.
Doug, what would the impact be of putting stop signs in? So that people couldn't come, it wasn't a straight shot through the corner.
I think it'd be easier to get tarred and feathered. Number one, you're gonna have to have a cop sit there 24 hours a day to stop the traffic, because it's just, I would say, you know, I suggested once that we put a stop sign on Chadman's Ridge, where New Dam Road goes off. What's that?
You've been there, you got shot, didn't you?
Well, I'll tell you what, they threatened things that was way worse than being shot. And, you know, I said, just put a stop sign there, and you've ended all your problems. Go up the Chadman's Ridge Road and make a left on the New Dam, and just leave it free-flowing. You know, there's how many hundred houses out there, and there's 25 up above. Boy, I want to tell you something right now, that didn't go over big. You never heard Willie stomp like that. He was all over me. But, this really needs, you really, we can talk about this, but you really need to go out there and stand there and look at it. I mean, it's different when you're out there looking at it than it is right here, and I think you really need to do that, and have a meeting out there, and look the whole issue over at a first hand, and then talk about it.
I agree, but I have a question that has nothing to do with this, and I have to ask it.
This is a drive down the road right here.
Well, I think we're stopped on that road.
Where are we going, from South Waterboro to north, or what?
This is middle toward, what was Ross Corner Road.
We're going from Clark's Road?
From the school toward Clark's Bridge.
Oh, we're going the other way.
That's McLucas Road.
That's a McLucas Road, I'd say.
See that on Ross Corner?
Oh, no, so,
Okay,
Yeah, so,
Back down.
so we're coming from
Clark's Bridge down.
Clark's
Yep.
Bridge Road.
You gonna be slowing down, Dave?
Aim for the telephone pole and turn right hard.
Right
Oh,
there.
yeah, right there.
Well, you gotta back up.
Back up.
Wow.
You were going faster than you thought you were, David.
I was,
What road?
Slow down.
See,
Right
that's the
there.
house. Slow down,
Right
slow
there.
down,
Stop.
slow down. Right there, stop. There's your telephone pole, and
There's can you go ahead about another 30 or 40 feet in creeper? Oh, you see that right there?
That's Russell.
That's his driveway way down there.
Yeah.
yep,
Right.
yep.
So the way it looks like on that thing, that driveway comes out here, it don't come out.
No, it
here.
doesn't.
It's down there at least 100, 120, 30 feet down there. And you see how this road comes out like this? Well, it don't look like that on that
Yeah.
photo that you showed. And we suggested that you turn that and bring it out right here. Okay? And then, if you go ahead a little bit, well, you see, just stay right there. If you're in this vehicle right now, how far down that road are you seeing? You're right at the limit of your sight right there, okay? And these people coming out of here, when they start to turn, once they get to this point right here, they're vulnerable, because if they can't make it completely around here, to go this way, somebody coming around this road can't see them. And, once they enter the paved area, they're vulnerable to being hit by somebody coming in this direction. Can you go ahead a little bit more, David? Whoa.
yep, watch, this is gonna turn around actually in a second, come back the
Okay.
other way.
Okay. See that hill right there? That's more than you think it is. A car coming up over there is hidden until it crests that little,
it's your attention place right there.
yeah. Now we're coming up George Wheeler's.
Yep.
Remember her coming out there with that horse? Standing up, whipping that poor old horse, the mud's about 4 feet deep.
That's the boys on that one.
Yep. The town used to pay Mrs. Wheeler to bring them out with her kids out to get the school bus out on the Clark's Bridge Road with a horse and a buggy. You remember that, David? That road wasn't passable. That's when we used to have mud season. And there was mud season.
You know Phil Green?
Yep.
His daughter lived up in there. She called me one day, she says, I'm stuck all four wheels, but in the mud.
See this right here, how that, can you back up a little, David,
You can go
please?
back right to the cemetery there, and you can see the corner.
Okay, now go ahead, a little slow. A little bit more, whoa, right there.
Yeah, right there.
Any vehicle, if you can keep your eye trained on this place right there, you can't see the vehicle that's coming out of the middle road and making a left-hand turn because it's totally behind the brush right there. If you go ahead a little bit more, David. Oh,
The crest of the hill, yeah.
Starting to see the intersection.
now go ahead some more.
Now you can see the road coming out.
Now, well, see, if you look, is that the telephone pole right there?
I think it is,
You can't see that, when he comes out of there with his truck, he's fully on the other side of that telephone pole. So you can't see him when he's out and stopped and has to back up to make his turn. So, anybody coming up through there at a reasonable rate of speed, because you go quite a ways further before you see that. If you move ahead again in creeper. Oh,
keep coming.
now, right there, he'd be totally across the road right there.
And my butt is behind that sign right there. You know, the ass end of the truck that just turned on off my little abandoned lane is, I could be trying to get into second gear right behind that sign, and they're coming around the corner, coming to rear end me. And I hear that now and
I
then.
think there's too much we can do here until somebody's out there takes a look at it and decides you want to spend any money.
Mr. Foglio, you don't think stop signs would help at all? And then have a sign that says stop ahead, and you have a stop sign? When I see a stop ahead sign, I tend to slow down. 'Cause I know
Or
there's a
caution,
stop.
dangerous corner, or something like that. At least as an interim measure before you, I mean, we're a ways off before you put a lot of money into that. But if you put a caution sign up there, at least that would be a start.
When we talked about the road names, my idea about the stop sign was so people could stop and see where they are, see the road signs. And that was one of my reasons for talking about the stop sign.
I think a stop sign there would be dangerous because you have people stopping. If you can't see a person crossing there, you're gonna have someone stop and slam into them.
You know, absent of acquiring that land, I wonder if we could get an agreement from the abutters to cut the tree line back a little bit more on that for safety reasons.
I mean, there's a lot of things you could do, but I think that, I think that we could sit here and discuss this until 10 o'clock or 10 o'clock tomorrow. I think if we went out there and looked at it, we'd have a lot better perspective on what should be done. Cutting the trees back, Gordon's a good idea. But,
Yes, sir.
I got you all into this, so I should say something about this.
Well, I think it's just a continuation of the whole
Mess, yeah.
renaming thing, yeah.
Doug was very courteous to come out and meet with me like this afternoon. I appreciate that, Doug. To look at this intersection because I've got my permit for my firewood yard, and this is a corner I have to make often with my little wood delivery truck. And I kind of showed Doug that as I come out of this abandoned section of Middle Road and I come hard left, I can't make this in one swing. I have to back up and then come forward. The vehicle can see me at this angle coming on, but you're pretty close now. And actually, if you just back up 25 feet, you may not see the butt end of a truck that just is almost moving at a snail's pace. Yeah, see, you're blind. Keep coming up the road if you want, and you can figure out at what point you can see me. You can't see me yet. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming up the road. Keep coming. Now, if I'm behind that little brush and the pole on the right, keep coming, keep coming. See the signs right there, and now you could be right on me right now because I've just come up onto this road.
What's the distance, you think, between when they can't see you and when they can?
What is it?
I don't, I didn't take a tape measure. I couldn't find my 300-foot tape.
Just a guess.
I think John's 350 feet is stretching it pretty hard.
Yeah,
I think it's somewhere between 200 and 300 feet, I think is the...
Yeah, I paced out 150 yards from that driveway, but that driveway was the first place, if you were looking for someone out being out on the road, especially a truck crossroad, you could see them right from that driveway. That was 150 yards. But really, really, you're probably another 50 yards down there before it becomes clear.
Get me to the intersection.
Assuming that they're traveling at the speed limit, and if they're doing 35 miles an hour, they're traveling at the rate of 50 feet per second. 50.155 feet per second.
I think they do all of 35 and then some, to be frank.
Well, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure that,
Um,
so that doesn't give you a whole
A
lot of time
to get out of the way.
to pull a truck around, back it up, and then continue on.
Continue on.
And then you're going slow, and if they get any speed at all, they come around, they're still gonna rear end you.
Yeah.
If I could interject one thing here, that, you know,
There's the driveway right there where I saw it. I can see it.
okay, right there, David, stop if you would, please. If you back up about 50 or 75 feet, okay, whoa, right here, we got a, well,
Right
That's the driveway.
there. Right there's the driveway
if
where
we
I could
started
see the
cutting
point.
right there, okay? Now move along a little if you can, David. Okay. This is, there's a bank here, I don't know just how much there is, but there's a
Yeah.
bank there. If we cut the trees, if we could get permission to cut the trees up there, where I'm showing you, okay, right along through there. Now pull ahead some more, David, if you would. Oh, you know, and cutting the trees back to here, what this gentleman had suggested was that there's the intersection of these two right-of-ways right here, at some point gives us 100 feet, approximately, without surveying it, we wouldn't know, but if you didn't have the argument from anybody, he wants to take out those trees right there and gravel that in so that he would actually go in up there further. I don't know that cutting the trees here would be the whole answer, else you'd have to excavate some of this out of here.
Yeah, because if
That
you're
would-
sitting in a car, your line of vision, yeah.
That would be your cheapest way to do a minimal fix. Not permanent, but minimal. I'm not sure it fits into your road standards, and if you're gonna have road standards, shouldn't the town have to meet them as well as a private individual? I mean, you're gonna have the intersection of that road and the intersection of the Ross Corner Road coming within 50 or 60 feet of one another. Our ordinance says you can't have a driveway within 50 feet of an intersection. So that means the 50 feet of the right-of-way. So from where this right-of-way comes out here to where the edge of that road was, would have to be 50 feet to meet our own regulations. That's why I didn't bring this, that's why I didn't suggest it, because now if you wanted to say, we're gonna do this as we figured it's an emergency, and we're doing this just until we can convince the town to appropriate money, but we may all have beards clear down here before that money gets appropriated.
Hey Doug, would it make sense, if you look up there, to, if you're looking at stop sign possibly, to run Middle Road down here a little bit and then bring this one right up there and make that your stop sign? And then you're far from the driveway, right? You got your distance from the driveway, you got your right angle, you got, you know, this road coming out on, well, I guess you still have to straighten this road, but that gives you this.
The stop sign deal looks to me to be dangerous, because you're gonna try to stop coming down the hill.
Yeah,
And
coming
you're
off
gonna,
that other hill.
I mean, unless you put somebody out there to maintain this, you know, some law enforcement officer out there, I think people are gonna run those stop signs. I just can't bring myself to believe they're gonna, I mean, it's a good idea, I just don't think it's gonna work. That's my own personal opinion. I mean, I stand out there, I was out there the other day working at the corner of Chadden's Ridge in New Dam, and they don't even slow down for that stop sign. I mean, stop's one thing, they don't even slow down. So, to put one out here, I just think they're gonna blow through that like Grant took Richmond.
Oh, remember Sunday, Fred almost got hit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Take your suggestion, you can cut them trees back on that right-hand side.
All right, would you like the pointer? Would that help? Might help us to understand what you're...
Okay, this is the little magic thing. There's two things. First of all, having lived on this abandoned section for a while. There's a drainage ditch on this part of Ross Corner Road, and there's a culvert up here under the driveway, and this has been ditched fairly well on all sides. And that drainage ditch comes right off, and it discharges all that water right here, right at the base where we're trying to make our swing onto the road, on the abandoned section of Middle Road. That's where all the water's pouring in, and it goes under the wall, and it crosses the abandoned section of Ross Corner. So if you do anything up here, a culvert or something to handle the water from here, every other driveway up here has a culvert. I don't know if we're responsible as folks living on an abandoned road for putting in a culvert here, or whether we need to talk to the road about that. But Steve's kind of disappointed Mr. Poisson because this water that comes down here actually comes about 50 feet down the abandoned section of Ross Corner Road, and then it has come across an area that Stephen has already fixed and washed it out. So again, he has to come up onto the road. So you've got some water issues here too. There's another culvert here that discharges across this section of Middle Road and runs then parallel. The culvert discharges right here behind these trees and runs out parallel to the abandoned section of Ross Corner. I like Mr. Libby's idea. I don't know if you can pull it off, but if you could move this section of road over here, that would give me and the other residents back here enough time to get kind of squared up this way to the road, instead of having to turn past 90 degrees. Trying to turn 130 degrees, 150 degrees is really hard, and the longer the truck you try to put down here, Mr. Winkle's in the building business, and it's fun looking at these La Valley lumber trucks. If they come up from Sanford, they're fine. If they come in this way and they try to turn, coming down here and turn. The pole also, Mr. Foglio pointed out that the pole is actually in the right-of-way. It's right here, and it's in the right-of-way by, 8-10 feet. So it's hard if you're coming down, come on, little pointer, this abandoned section right here, if you're coming down there, I almost take the front of my truck sometimes and almost head like I'm going to try to hit the pole and then make the swing, because the pole is right here too. As the snow discharges off the plows that come around this corner in the winter, the snow builds up in here, and we wind up trying to pile snow up behind this pole and trying to pile snow over here. We have massive snow drifts in here, and that cuts down even more on your visibility, because this snow drift will be out to here till springtime. So there's no easy answer. Mr. Foglio was right. He pointed out, he said, these are old carriage roads that come together, and I don't expect the town to come up with an instant miracle for this. There's been about 5 accidents that I know of right here, right up in here, since I moved here in 04, 05, I was building down here. So there's been more than a number of accidents of people just coming around this corner, not realizing how sharp it was, getting into a little gravel in here on the top of the pavement and sliding. There's a kid 4 weeks ago that put a motorcycle down right there. So it happens. My thought is, I'm not asking for the town to take back our abandoned road or decide to do a bunch of work on it. All I'm concerned about is just the intersection. Is there something you can do to allow a little visibility down here, a little better visibility, so I'm not cocking my head way up over my shoulder, then looking to see if I'm okay here before I go left and looking back this way. Your head is on a swivel like you're in some sort of dogfight. And my wood delivery truck, my firewood delivery truck, cannot make that swing in one pass, particularly when there's any sort of snow there. You have to back up again, back down here, watch that you don't hit the telephone pole behind you and take off. We didn't create that situation. I mean, we live far down the road on the abandoned section of the road. This is something that has evolved from the carriage days to modern times, and I don't have an easy answer for it, but it would be nice to find a way to get a vehicle somewhat squared up in here, so that you're not pointed down this way when you want to go left. You can at least, instead of looking hard up over your shoulder, decide that you have better visibility. I had spoken to Mr. Foglio about moving this this way, and he was smart by standing up there and saying, you know, if I move this, I get you trued up this way, but then you can't see down here. So the intersection is actually in the right position, you're just kind of out of room. And I don't know how to handle that. And as a small woodlot owner, I lobby for landowner rights. I hate to see the town come in and have to take a whole bunch of land by some sort of eminent domain if people don't want it turned into roadway. But this problem has evolved over time, and I don't quite know how you fix it. Whatever you do, you need to figure that...
It's a button on the top.
There you go. Down this road, I have 1,750 feet of frontage, it's a 5-acre minimum lot size, so I could put 6 or 7 homes in there. Diane Holden has God knows how much frontage down there. There could be 20, 30, 40 homes down here, easy. There's enough frontage and enough land down there to do that. Steve Poisson here owns, I think, 75, 80 acres. There's a single landowner up here, but they own a tremendous amount of frontage. They could cut lots down there too. So if you work on a permanent solution for this intersection, it has to take into account that a lot of lots could be cut up here, and that the traffic pattern would have to take into account lots of vehicles in the future. Sorry to dump all this in your lap. Not an easy issue to resolve. Thank you, Doug, for meeting with me.
I'd like to make a motion to go beyond 9 o'clock.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to extend the Board of Selectmen's meeting beyond
Good night,
the
Jerry.
9 o'clock. And is there any discussion? I know we all want to get out of here. Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? David's opposed.
Yeah, moving to-
Okay, the motion is carried.